When Game of Thrones ended in 2019, its cast scattered from the ashes of Westeros into lives more dramatic, painful, and surprising than the show itself. Emilia Clarke, the fierce face of Daenerys Targaryen, nearly lost everything just as her fame began. In 2011, after filming the first season, she collapsed in a London gym with a ruptured brain aneurysm. Doctors rushed her into emergency surgery, threading platinum coils through her arteries to stop the bleeding. She survived but woke unable to speak, trapped in silence by aphasia. In agony, she begged doctors to let her die. Months later, she forced herself back to the set for season 2, only to face another aneurysm 2 years later that required surgery through her skull. She recovered with titanium plates in her head and memory gaps that would have ended most careers. Instead, she created SameU, a charity for brain injury survivors, and in 2024 received an MBE from Prince William, standing beside her mother, who had survived the same condition. Kit Harington, who played Jon Snow, walked out of Game of Thrones and straight into rehab. When the final season ended, he was exhausted, drinking heavily, and lost. His first attempt at recovery failed. He left a treatment circle mid-session, too ashamed to stay. But he returned later, finally finding stability after years of struggle. By 2024, his long-rumored Jon Snow spin-off was shelved, and he admitted the story just wasn't there. Yet for the first time in years, Kit found peace away from Westeros. Now sober and a father of 2 with wife Rose Leslie, he returned to acting in Industry Season 3, and on the London stage in Slave Play, embracing roles that spoke to complexity rather than heroism. Peter Dinklage, who had already made history as Tyrion Lannister, kept pushing boundaries. In 2025 he appeared in Dexter, Resurrection as Leon Prodder, a chilling billionaire who studied killers instead of becoming one. His performance was haunting, not violent but disturbingly still. That same year, photos from his next project, Lear Rex, showed him transformed with a white mohawk and painted face beside Al Pacino. Dinklage also made waves off-screen, calling out Disney in 2022 for perpetuating stereotypes in its Snow White remake. His words forced a rewrite, proving that even off the Iron Throne, his voice still carried weight. Sophie Turner's post-Thrones life unfolded like a public battle. Her 2023 split from Joe Jonas turned into a legal storm, with accusations over custody and passports. By late 2024, the divorce was finalized, and she began to rebuild. In 2025, she shocked fans with a fierce physical transformation. 40 pounds lighter, all muscle, preparing to play Lara Croft in Amazon's Tomb Raider series, written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Professionally, she thrived, starring in Joan, a gritty drama where she proved she was more than Sansa Stark. Personally, she weathered heartbreak again when her relationship with British aristocrat Peregrine Pearson ended, only to face new rumors of dating Coldplay's Chris Martin. Through every twist, Turner emerged hardened and renewed. Maisie Williams, who grew up as Arya Stark, revealed deep childhood trauma years after the show. In 2022, she spoke openly about escaping an abusive father and the lasting fear it caused. Her honesty stunned listeners. Then came her transformation for the new look, where she played Catherine Dior, sister of Christian Dior, surviving Nazi camps. She lost 25 pounds, shaved her head, and described feeling like a marble rattling in a bottle. The role changed her, a haunting reflection of her own endurance. She had stepped beyond fame into something raw and unforgettable. Lena Headey, unforgettable as Cersei Lannister, lived through her own cycle of collapse and renewal. In 2013, she told a court she had less than $5 in her account and was living on credit, even as thrones soared. Years later, she earned over $1 million per episode. She spoke publicly about postpartum depression and revealed how Harvey Weinstein blacklisted her after she rejected him. Her tattoos told her story: names, birds, gods, symbols of pain turned to art. In 2022, she remarried, this time to actor Mark Menchaca, with her Thrones family in attendance. By 2025, she was set to star alongside Gillian Anderson in The Abandons for Netflix, a new chapter in a career defined by survival. Nikolai Coster-Waldau, once the Golden Knight Jaime Lannister, aged into authenticity rather than vanity. Now 55, he embraces the wrinkles that Hollywood fears. Promoting King and Conqueror in 2025, he called anti-aging treatments a waste of time, declaring that no one escapes death, no matter how smooth their skin. His words cut through the illusion of eternal youth. Married since 1998 to Nukaka, a Greenlandic actress and former Miss Universe contestant, he built a quiet, grounded life far from fame's noise. His minimalist Los Angeles home mirrors his outlook, simple, calm, and real. Gwendolyn Christie, who turned Brienne of Tarth into an icon, spent her youth defying limits. After a spinal injury ended her gymnastics dreams, she poured herself into acting. Towering at 6 feet 3 inches, she was told she'd never make it. She ignored them. For Thrones, she trained relentlessly, mastering sword fighting and horseback riding. When HBO snubbed her from Emmy submissions in 2019, she submitted herself and earned the nomination anyway. It became a symbol of self-belief. By 2025, her career was thriving with Severance and Wednesday Season 2, where she returned as a ghostly presence. Beside designer Giles Deacon, her longtime partner, she remains one of the few stars who never conformed. She redefined strength on her own terms. And then there's Richard Madden, whose death as Robb Stark marked one of TV's most shocking moments. While fans mourned, he rebuilt in silence. Bodyguard in 2018 catapulted him to global fame, earning him a Golden Globe and changing his fortunes overnight. He went on to star in Eternals and Citadel, reshaping himself physically and mentally for roles that demanded both steel and vulnerability. Yet fame's glare grew unbearable. Hunted by paparazzi, he wore the same clothes for days to make photos worthless. His private life became a locked door, his relationships quiet rumors. Behind the fame, he built a life defined not by exposure, but by control. What began in Westeros as a fantasy epic became, in real life, a story of survival, of bodies that broke, hearts that healed, and stars who learned that dragons weren't the only things that could burn you alive. For all of them, the end of Game of Thrones wasn't the end of anything. It was the beginning of who they really were.